Hello, and welcome to the Swift Calcs lesson on calculating with units. As engineers and scientists, most of our calculations involve units. The number 1 may mean plain old 1, but often it also means 1 inch, or 1 meter, or 1 light year. In this lesson, we will learn how to use units in Swift Calcs to save time, reduce errors, and improve the readability of our calculations. In Swift Calcs, units are represented in calculations as a soft gray when a line is out of focus, and as a green color when a line is being actively edited. This is in contrast to variables, which show up as burnt orange, and functions or commands, which show up as blue. Units in Swift Calcs are different than variables. An orange M, for example, represents the variable m, which can be defined by a user and used again later. This is in contrast to a green m, which represents the unit of meters, a unit of length. Incorporating units into your Swift Calcs calculation is straightforward, and there are 3 primary ways to add a unit. The first and most common way is by using Swift Calcs auto-conversion to anticipate your intent and automatically convert your entry into a unit. For example, if I type 5s, Swift Calcs sees s and automatically converts this to the unit of seconds. If this ever happens unexpectedly, I can use Ctrl-Z undo to undo the automatic change and return it to a variable name. If I do this, using s later in the calculation will not auto-convert to seconds. The auto-conversion also supports metric prefixes. For example, ms will turn to milliseconds, where a us will turn to microseconds. The u is shorthand for the micro prefix. It's also important to note that auto-conversion will recognize if a variable with the same name as a unit has already been defined. If so, when using that variable name, it will not auto-convert to the associated unit. The next way to add units into a calculation is by using the autocomplete menu. By autocomplete, you start typing the name of the unit that you wish to insert, and in the autocomplete menu, select the correct unit and press enter. Units can also be added from the toolbar. Look for the M over S icon, and then from the unit list, pick the unit that you would like to insert. Finally, you can insert a unit by entering unit mode. Unit mode is entered by pressing the quotation key. When in unit mode, your cursor will be surrounded by a green box. In this mode, all entry is assumed to be a unit. When you are finished entering your units, simply press the spacebar until you leave unit mode. Swift Calcs supports working with units in a variety of ways. For example, the addition of unlike units, subtraction of unlike units, as well as multiplication of units. Notice that in this example, volts times amps, the answer has automatically converted to the new unit of watts. If I want my answer to be in a different unit, for example, instead of watts, horsepower, I can click on the unit in the answer and type the name of the new unit I would like to use. I can also use the Change Units option from the pull-down menu. You can change the default units for all answers in your worksheet using the worksheet settings. Simply enter the settings and change your unit system. If you'd like to customize your units more, hit the Customize button to change the base units, as well as the derived units used in your answers. Swift Calcs also helps you catch errors by enforcing unit consistency. For example, if I try to use this function that has been defined as y of 3, I will get an incompatible units error, attempting to combine meters per second with meters per second squared. This is an indication that there is an error somewhere in my calculation with inconsistent units. In this example, my function is expecting an input in unit of time. By providing the appropriate input, I receive an appropriate output, also with units. Currency units are also supported in Swift Calcs. Note that the exchange rate is updated daily, and you can change the exchange rate to a date in the past using the worksheet settings. In Swift Calcs, units can be used anywhere and anywhere. For example, in plots, we can plot y of t as a function of t, and the plot will appear with the y-axis automatically shown in meters. Units can also be used in the solver. For example, solving the equation y of t equals 0 meters. The answer will appear automatically in units of seconds. Units can even be used in the differential equation solvers or in other tools throughout the toolbox. The use of units in these tools will be covered in the later lessons that are specific to those tools. Join us in our next lesson, where we will learn how to solve equations in Swift Calcs.